Hey guys, and welcome to the fish room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and I have things a bit cleaned up down here because we're getting ready to start phase 2 of the fish room renovation. Now, if you're new here, I am in the process of shuffling some of my larger tanks in order to set up a whole rack of small tanks for all the fish that I breed in my outdoor mini ponds every year. So I thought today I would give you a few updates on some of the new aquariums in the fish room, the 150-gallon Hillstream, the 75-gallon South American community of nanofish that I just moved, the new Penjing, and an update on the aquarium that I added all those Amanos to, as well as show you where the next phase of construction is going to happen. So let's get started. So as you can see, the 150-gallon is doing just fine. I am having a minor amount of crypt melt over here, actually not nearly as much as I expected. You may notice as well that I painted the trim black, and I did that on every aquarium in the fish room that didn't have black trim, just so it all matches. Also with Manzanita Driftwood and botanicals, it's extremely common to get this fuzz on it in those first few weeks. Now, this aquarium has tons of grazers, so I wouldn't imagine it'll be that terrible, but you will notice it on the wood in the aquarium. And again, this is totally normal. Goes away in time. If you hate it, you can scrub it off, but I find that to be more trouble than it's worth, as it does just resolve. So pretty soon here, I'm going to start actively trying to source more fish for this aquarium. Of course, I'll be moving in some of the minnows from the 300-gallon in my yard. Probably more stiphodons like these guys. They're a species that particularly enjoy that growth on the algae, so it's good for them. I may look for more goby species. Got a lot of things in mind. So if you guys have any really great Hillstream suggestions, let me know down in the comments. I'm not sure where everybody's favorite hangouts are in this aquarium with the rescape, so we're going to have to get to know it together. But so far, so good. I'm super pleased, and I'm really enjoying it in its new location. It's really rewarding to be able to share it with you guys easier, get an actual complete view of it, and back up enough to be able to get macro footage of the various species in it, and just be able to enjoy it from my recliner. Let's take a look at the Penjing. So this is the Featherstone Penjing that was made for me and installed by Brooklyn Hardscape. You can see that this Ficus salicifolia here has dropped some leaves, but the good news is, if we look really closely, and I'll take you guys up closer in a second, it already has new growth starting. These guys were lost in the bottom of my armchair somehow for almost 2 weeks. So the fact that that is the only leaf drop that it's had is really great, because ficus are known for when they have a change in conditions, or if they get you know, shocked or startled or whatever you want to call it, they drop their leaves. So that little bit is not that big. You can see that the Monte Carlo is starting to get nice new growth, and as we look up the Penjing, you can see that there's new growth on the mini Christmas moss. I'm really hoping that this Monte Carlo is going to flower for me. I was a bit concerned in those first few weeks because everything looked kind of moldy, a little brown, but as time is passing, you can see even the hair grass that I thought was totally dead there in the back is starting to rebound. So far, so good. It's a really neat focal point. And then I wanted to give you a quick update on the crabs and the shrimp as well. So this is the current underwater portion of the Penjing. I have stuck some Bucephalandra red wavy in here. We'll take a closer look in just a second. These are my orange eye blue tigers, and I know that they look black but when they're up near the surface and in the bright light, you can tell that they're obviously blue, and those bright orange eyes are just stunning. So far, so good with all of those guys. I'm having absolutely no issues with them. The micro crabs are doing really well also. I did add some moss, and again, those bucephalandras into the base of these rocks. First, because you could see through those river stones and you could actually see the acrylic column that supports this whole thing. But also so that these little micro crabs would have some plants to cling to. It makes them happy. So the crabs stay pretty close to the roots of the plants and the crevice of the rock. I generally look for little legs. I just dropped some powdered food in here, so it's likely that we'll start seeing them be a bit more visible. Again, there are 25 crabs in here and 15 of the shrimp. I actually see 5 or 6 crabs in this frame. Again, you sort of have to look for their legs. I didn't choose them for this aquarium because they're particularly outgoing or visible. I chose them for this aquarium because they're really neat. And I enjoy sort of spending the time looking for them around the aquarium. You can see a big one there. So this is where the 150 used to sit, and what I'm going to do is hopefully break down these 2 racks and then grab all my other 10s and 15s out of storage and build a new rack that goes from ceiling to floor over here to house those aquariums so that it's directly across from my shipping station here. And what that will mean is that instead of standing and climbing ladders and running all over the fish room to collect orders when I have them, I'll be able to do it right here, set up my anti-fatigue mats, have a chair, and hopefully be able to sell some fish. Now, when I'm planning a new stand, I start by measuring my aquariums. You need to measure your actual aquariums with the frame, not just go by standard measurements, because the frame adds about 1/4 of an inch on each side, and if you go by just the measurements you can Google, it's not going to fit. So the goal is probably 3 tiers high, similar to these, but running from here to there, which is about 8 feet. So that will allow me to have 25 or 30 aquariums probably. Maybe more, we'll have to see. And hopefully that will allow me to maintain this whole section of the fish room as display tanks, to be able to sit in my chair and survey all things that are good. By getting rid of this rack, I'll be able to view the big boys better. I'll be able to look at the hill stream. I'll be able to look at the 75-gallon Nano, which seems totally unfazed from being moved, luckily. It actually looks better than it did. All those water changes, the little bit of algae it had has pretty much cleared up. All the fish are fat and happy and active, and I really like it over here on this side of the fish room. Now again, I think next week a new project here is starting. It will be another 75-gallon, but it's unlike anything I've done before, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Now I just wanted to show you a quick update on how the algae is doing in that aquarium that I added all those Amanos to. So you can see they're still molting like crazy, probably because they're eating like crazy. But you can see now this aquarium is pretty much devoid of that hair algae. I see a tiny bit on a few Anubias leaves, but it's been about a week and a half, so mission accomplished. And at this point I'll probably catch out about half of those Amanos Or maybe I'll leave like maybe 8 to 10 in here actually, so I'll have to catch out about 90 of them and move them into my Amano tank. I'm hoping that by them removing all of this algae, I'll be able to add a bunch more plants and outcompete it. I definitely think lighting is the issue in this aquarium, but you know, we'll see what we can do here. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed seeing what's upcoming for the next few weeks. I'll also be moving in all the critters from the tubs. Hopefully next week if we can get fish room project number 2 done this weekend. If so, stay tuned for that. Then we'll be overwintering plants, starting that new build over next to the 75-gallon Nano. But as always, I want to hear from you guys. What would you like to see? I have a lot of aquariums, a lot of projects, and a lot of fish, so your input is always greatly appreciated. Thanks as always for the continued support.